This is not Lucy Woven. Lucy Woven was due to do a streaming concert middle of December last year, and we had our dress rehearsal on the Wednesday, due to do the concert on the Friday. On Thursday, of course, the bloody Avalon cluster broke out, didn't it? And we just had to suddenly call a grinding halt to the whole thing. And we are still in a position, actually, with Lucy Woven, because of all of the singers, to not be able to come together, even without an audience, and do a concert at the moment, I'm afraid. But during last year, some string players started meeting here on a Tuesday morning here at Humph Hall. It kind of happened with an orchestra that fell apart a bit because of the conductor moving away from Sydney. So they started meeting here, and I started working with them, even though I'm not a string player myself. And we had a lot of fun doing that, and I was sometimes playing the piano and sometimes playing the concertina, as I was just then. Not an inappropriate thing to do, actually. These little English concertinas were built to be a fiddle substitute, people when they hadn't a fiddle. So that's what I'll be doing, and that's what I'll be doing this afternoon. But anyway, we always were going to follow up the Lucy Woven live streaming concert with one by us. Called ourselves the Corona Ensemble, because we started meeting during that whole thing. Anyway, the Lucy Woven can't do it, but we thought we can. We have a little bit of singing in this concert, but certainly not anything like Lucy Woven. So I hope you are going to enjoy this concert this afternoon, wherever you happen to be in the world. Watching that. I know we have people in Australia and New Zealand. I don't know whether we've got any further afield. If you do, and you do are able to access the text chat there on the right-hand side of your YouTube link up, you need to have a YouTube account or a Google account. But if you do, then please do send us a message, and we've got Nancy over there who will tell us what you're saying, and we'll respond to everything.
And just a welcome already from W.G. Taylor, and Robin Hutchinson says, wonderful to hear your amazing music again. Thank you, Robin, and anyone else at W.G. Taylor.
Excellent. Good on you, Robin. Robin was almost became a member of Lucy Woven at one point or other, but she's done some wonderful things with music happening at the W.G. Taylor Retirement Village. Good on her. Lovely to hear from you, Robin. Okay, look, well, we've got a lot of folky stuff, the sort of things that Lucy Woven might want to play, that we're going to be doing with you. Some of it just arranged by me, and others specifically arranged for string ensembles. But this is another beautiful folk song called, well, I'm not even going to say what it is because you'll recognise it, I'm sure. Arranged by George Nettleton, who's an English fiddler. Sorry, what do I do? No, you're not talking to me. Right. George and Eddleton wrote that little bit in the middle there, which sort of just based on the chords and things. Lovely. So this is, Gail and I, when we were all locked down here, stuck doing here and not being able to play along with Lucy Wogan, we started doing a lot of playing ourselves. She's been learning the violin now for three years. And so what we did was we got my keyboard to play itself so that she could play the violin and I could play the concertina. So we did this sort of fiddle duets, and I have these books of fiddle duets that I bought years and years ago at the National Folk Festival. We worked our way through them. And the one that we really liked, I added to a book which grew and grew and grew, which I call the Corona Collection. And this is one of the ones that we got from... It's arranged by a man called Matt Seattle. He put out all these wonderful videos. It's called Da Full Rigged Ship. And we're going to do it slowly and then we're going to do it fast. So feel free to get up and dance. Any room? Any room? Any room?
If the battery hasn't gone flat. So, hi Nan, if you're still there.
Maybe she could send us in a message.
No. Not a good idea.
Okay, well look, you'll recall that originally we were planning on doing this concert at the end of December. So not surprisingly, we included some Christmassy things in it. But now it's not quite the end of December anymore. But bugger it, there's such good, beautiful Christmas things. We're doing them anyway, so we have to just get all unseasonal. This is in the bleak midwinter. I know of at least 2 really beautiful tunes to this in the bleak winter, and this is one of them by Gustav Holst. And basically, this is just the SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass parts that we're just dividing up amongst ourselves here. But we're lucky enough to have, as well as people who can play instruments here, some people who can sing as well. And one of those is Kay. is Kay. And so she's going to sing one verse of this, and then we'll all play it on. Right. Up till now, what we've been playing is just sort of, well, that was the vocal arrangements or just other simple little arrangements or adaptations of fiddle duets and things. This is the first piece that we're playing this afternoon that is actually arranged for the string ensemble. By someone who knows what they're doing with it, right? With all the proper markings and everything. It's A Shokin Farewell, which is a really well-known, beautiful tune. Some of you old enough to remember the SBS series on American Civil War that they screened, must be in the 70s, I suppose. Back in the... Anyway, this was the theme song from that. And it's really, really, really beautiful tune. In fact, Fiona arranged this one for Loosely Woven many years ago, but we're not doing Fiona's arrangement, I hope. We're doing this one that's actually been arranged by a guy called Kelvin Custer for a string ensemble. And it's going to feature the leader. Did I get this right? See, I'm not one of these orchestra wankers, you know. So I've got to learn all the jargon and things. But so orchestras have first violins and the second violins, right? The first violin has been a really good one. The second ones are the ones that eventually hopefully be a first violin. Anyway, so we've got a first violin. First violin is up at the top stage there, and the leader of the first violins is the wonderful Ray up there. And so you're going to hear why he is in this, because he's going to begin this whole thing on with a violin solo, which I can feel, and the rest of us will join. By the way, yeah, look, through no one's fault except my own, I got totally stuffed up with the dates, right? In my mind, the 22nd was a Sunday and the 21st was a Saturday, right? In my mind. I don't know why, it must have been some other dates I was organising, I don't know. And so when two people from the group, because we talked about, what about we do this concert this weekend sometime, right? And two people in my bank said, I'm fine, but I can't on the Saturday. Oh, sorry, they didn't say that Saturday. They said the Saturday would have been all right. They said, I can't on the 21st. And two of them, independently, said, I can't do the 21st. So I thought, oh, great, we'll do it on a Sunday then. Easy. That's solved the problem, we'll do it on a Sunday. So I went ahead, organised it, printed leaflets, notified, sent things out to all the retirement villages. In other words, committed ourselves to the Sunday. And then told those people, and they said, I said, we can't do it on the 21st. But no, we're doing it on the Sunday. And he said, the 21st is the Sunday, you idiot. Well, they didn't say that, but they should have. So I'm afraid one of the people was Tiaki, and she managed to reorganise whatever it was she was supposed to be doing, and I'm all missing out on it or something, I'm sorry. But the other person was our one and only cellist, Di Grant, who's moved up to Gosford Way or something, I think, but was still driving down from Gosford every Tuesday for our practices, and was quite happy to come down to do the concert too. But of course, she was the one that just couldn't do it. It was a huge, really, families coming from all over the world or whatever, for a big thing. So, sorry, Di, it is all my fault. But the penance I'm having to pay is I'm having to do all the cello parts on this monster of a bass baritone concertina. So, and some of them are quite tricky. But anyway, so this is why I'm playing this one. I'm the cello. And look, while I think of it, it's lovely. We had one viola player, but she moved away and couldn't keep doing it, so we were short of viola. And I could have done the viola too, because I've got a viola-sized concertina as well. I'm very versatile, but I can't do both at the same time. So this is when we didn't have the time to do the cello, and so Fiona just come on without any rehearsals. She popped down yesterday and had a bit of a run through the music, but she's just winging it today. But I knew she's a wonderful viola player and violin player. So give her a big hand to Fiona.
Thank you for alerting them to that fact so they can watch to see whether I get it all wrong now.
Yeah. Let's just hope there's no more spiders. During the rehearsal, she suddenly jumped up and hit her roof head against the ceiling. Because of a spider.
It ran at me from over there, ran through, and
Yeah. Anyway, so cast your minds back. If you can remember that, here is Ray with his beautiful style of introducing a show. 3 tunes, a couple of klezmer tunes, and followed by a Macedonian tune in 7/8. It's a good lively stuff. The Macedonian tune's a little bit tricky for people, and possibly not quite what some of the members of the Corona Ensemble we used to play, but good fun to do it anyway. So here we go.
And I've just got a couple of comments I'll read. Great to hear clapping again in Humpful. Isn't that the truth? Peak midwinter, beautifully sung and played. And then I've got some smiley faces. So we've got about 26 people currently watching. Hopefully New Zealand, if you've joined us, could you let me know, because I've got some special hellos later. Thank you.
They may not be able to let you know, but then I know they'll be there.
Feel.
Ready? Play it strong, right? 1, Okay, well, we're going back to another really beautiful folk tune that a friend of ours brought along, didn't they?
Yeah, Ross.
Yeah, Ross. You there, Ross? Ross brought this called Maiden's Prayer. It's really, really beautiful tune. So we've arranged it to 4 strings, piano. And it's going to feature this time Robin. That's Robin Kent. He's a neighbour that just lives down the road, walking distance, and popped up some years back and was interested in joining Lucy Woven. He'd seen some concerts, and I said, "What do you do?" So I play classical guitar. And I thought, nice having classical guitar. And I don't know how, but he happened to mention that when he was 17, he used to play the violin. Hasn't since then. And of course, my eyes are, if I get a classical guitar, So I sort of nagged him, well, didn't have to nag him too much actually. I did, take up the violin again, and he has been now for quite a few years and playing all over the place in orchestras and things. In fact, it's Robin that kind of brought a lot of the people here in this group now. So this is, Robin, the classical guitarist, seeing what he can do on the violin. Going to play the beginning of this, and he's going to be accompanied by the person whose major function is to lower the average age of the group. And for me, I turned 70 last week, and so for me it's I really particularly appreciate Hayden's contribution. Hayden is the son of Kay's teacher, violin teacher, and she said at one point, "Oh, do you think we'd like her to come along?" So we started uni, started in uni, I think he started at university happening, but I'm really pleased that he managed to squeeze us in to come along and do this concert with us today too. So, and he's not down in the ranks of the violin two, because he's not good enough to be in the violin one. He certainly is, but he's doing that because I asked him to just to give a bit of strength to the violin two section down the bottom here. So much appreciated. So he and Robin are going to be doing this open little bit, and then we're all going to join in the Maiden's Prayer. But he's also a very good singer-songwriter in his own right.
Excellent. Someone from Barnaby says, "I wish I was there. How wonderful to be able to play acoustically together again. And generally, I'm just getting lots of great comments." So let's give it a hand for that.
Okay, well, what we're doing now, Lucy Wogan, I keep mentioning Lucy Wogan, but Lucy Wogan is just this group of people that get together and performing and putting on concerts, normally anyway. And the very first concert under the banner of Lucy Wogan took place over 25 years ago, would you believe it? And what we're going to do now is the very first thing that Lucy Wogan played in that very first concert. Right, this is how it all began. But it's a little competition for you people here and also for the people watching from afar. Because I want you to see how long it takes you to recognise what it is. Everyone will know it, particularly on this side of the ditch anyway. Whether the New Zealand people might not necessarily know, there's a clue. But just see how long it takes you to recognise what it is we're playing. And we're going to try and make it a bit hard for you the first time through. And by the second time through, it should be pretty obvious. our Kiwi friends.
Mine said green sleeves. No, it was not. No, you should know
So it was of course Waltzing Matilda. But apart from the fact that the first time through we didn't actually play the tune, we just played the chords. It's in 3/4. It's not normally in 3/4. It's normally just in 3/4. But it was based on an arrangement by Winsome Evans, the Renaissance Players fan. I was the 70s, the decade of the 70s. I was in the Renaissance Players, early music group from Sydney University, run by this wonderful, wonderful woman, Winsome Evans. And Lucy Wogan over the years has adapted a lot of her arrangements, and that was the first one we ever adapted. She called it Matilda's Waltz. So there for you Kiwis across the ditch. Do you want to mention we've got some birthdays and things.
Do you want to do some
Yeah, why not?
birthdays now?
Why not?
Okay, I've got some February birthdays over in Lansdowne Park Village, New Zealand, if you're there. If not, it'll just go to the universe. Francis Clark, Gail Young, Doreen O'Brien, Shirley Gladding, Pamela Morris and Judith Griffiths, Audrey Coventry, happy birthday in New Zealand.
And Nancy for tomorrow.
Oh, Nancy, that's yeah. And Fiona's mum just can't seem to get off, and she says she's going to come back next time and play double bass.
Yay!
Fiona's
Yes.
the lovely girl player. Her mum's going to come next time.
No, double bass player. Oh, no. Yeah, look, the reason you might wonder why there's a retirement village in New Zealand watching us, it's because a few years ago Lucy Wogan went over to New Zealand, did a series of concerts over there, including at the retirement villages where these people are. So some of them will not even recognise some of us. Who was there in New Zealand apart from me? Just Guy and Robin, the three of us. Yeah. Oh, and university, yeah. That's right. And Lynette in the audience over there. Yeah, very good. Anyway, well, hello over there in New Zealand. Yeah. We thought we'd come back one day. I didn't think it would quite this way, but anyway. All right. Well, this is. I love doing things that are slightly different. You know, well-known things and different versions of them. And you know, the Away in a Manger. There are at least 3 different tunes to Away in a Manger. There's the one that you used to Away in. What is it? Away? I can't go now. I call that version 1, and then of course there's the version 2. Goes down the scale. I'll call that version 2. And this, where I got, again, from Renaissance Players, Winsome Evans, is the Normandy version, a Normandy tune, a French tune. And I call this one version 3, and it's my favourite. It's beautiful. And we have, we've got a couple of bilingual people, actually. My wife's bilingual, but Kay is going to recite, he's going to give us the German words as we play French. Normally, no.
You had to be worried.
Close. Close.
With a German accent.
and then we'll play it through. It's beautiful. I'll just check on the volume. Sorry.
L'enfant de la promesse au milieu de la nuit est né dans une crèche et nos yeux éblouis. Contempler la présence de l'amour infini, la parole et silence dans les bras de Marie.
Well, I got involved with the Bush Music Club decades ago, now back in the 80s. And I think at one time or other I was at something out there and somebody gave me on a scrap of paper this tune written out. And it had the name of it, which I'm not going to tell you, but it had a slightly different version after it, in brackets after it. And I brought it home and I played it, and they're absolutely right. This is a very, very well-known tune, but slightly different from what you used to. And I'd never heard it played, I just had it on a scrap of paper, but as the song that the tune is usually done slowly. I played it, we played it slowly when we did it. And one time I was going to visit Winsome Evans, a Renaissance Players fan, and I just said, here, have a look at this lovely tune. And she put it down, she sat down at her harpsichord, because that's the main thing, she's a harpsichord player. And she immediately ripped into it as a G. And I thought, oh, no, it's really slow and beautiful. And I thought about it afterwards, she's absolutely right. It really works well as a good, fast, lively jig as well as a soft air. A lot of tunes do. So here it is. This is this unknown tune. We'll see how long it takes you to recognise it. And we'll do it slowly, and then Winsome will rip into it and do a bit of a jig. No, that's the line major. I've got the right thing on.
Someone said, was that the King of the Fairies? No, it wasn't the King of the Fairies. It was, ladies and gentlemen. Clearly the talent is here.
Well, Victoria, you know.
Yeah. It's actually someone's mum. Hi to Kate.
Now, one of my favourites in the whole program. This is something that many years ago, I was one of my university vacation jobs was as an extra with the Australian Opera. This was before the Opera House was finished, and they were at Her Majesty's Theatre, right? And so me and a friend from school, we got ourselves a job as an extra in Turandot and a few other operas like that, and at the Her Majesty's Theatre. And I used to go down and do my thing, and I'd go up and muck around in the dressing room with everyone else. But this friend of mine, school friend, he never used to come to the dressing room. He used to hang around and in the wings and listen to a particular tenor, Donald Smith. Anyone Donald Smith? No. Donald Smith, wonderful Australian tenor back in those days. And he listened to him singing, and I did one time too, and I realised why my friend was so enamoured of him. It was while that particular opera was on the stage when the whole of Majesty's burned down. Do you remember? The Majesty's Theatre to the ground. The Opera House wasn't finished yet, so the opera moved to Elizabethan Theatre at Newtown. Yeah? And but this friend of mine, we kept doing the extras in the opera, and I was going to be in I can't remember which one it was now. One of those. And we missed out on being in it. But a week before opening night, I got a phone call from the opera saying, "Look, the people who are going to do the extras now can't only do the first two performances. You'll need to come and fill in for the rest of the season." And so, all right, okay, we missed the rehearsal. Look, doesn't matter. Come down to the performance on Friday night and watch it, and then we'll go from there. So we looked it up, and we found that the performance on Friday night was actually the opening night. Now, the opening night of the opera is big deal, right? It was all the Rolls Royces and the Rolls, and so we thought, let's have a bit of fun. This friend of mine, his parents owned a wrecking yard down at DY. So he went down to the wrecking yard and couldn't find a Rolls Royce or a Mercedes, but he found an old Bentley, a black Bentley, right, which was pretty good in that day. So, and he got dressed up. When we got close to the Elizabethan Theatre in Newtown, he got in the front seat. I got in the back seats, right, and he stayed in the front. And then we got there, he pulled him out the front, came around, opened the door, and let me out. And, we did the whole bit, it was just beautiful. And because he was all dressed proper, but I was dressed in these pants with pink and white stripes, a yellow shirt with pink polka dots, and tails, and anyway, so and then it got even better. I mean, we got filthy looks, of course, by other people. And when we got our tickets, the only seat, it was booked out, the only seats that were left was a box. And there were two boxes being used that night. One was one of the stars, one of the people of Australian Opera, I can't remember who. The other one was Sonia McMahon, who was the Prime Minister's wife at that time. So Sonia McMahon, other people, and me, sat in this box, and I remember putting my feet up on it. It was great fun. The only problem with it, of course, this is pre-digital cameras and phones and everything. No one was there to see us. I mean, none of our friends were off straight the opening night of the opera. But we had a lot of fun doing that. And because the ushers got to know us, knew who we were and everything, they thought it was a great joke. And so they got us in for nothing to the opera. For months afterwards, we could get always sneak up and let us in. And that was great because by this time I'd fallen in love with Donald Smith. And in particular him doing Vesti la Juba from Pagliacci. Vesti la Juba. Wonderful, you must know that one. On with the Motley, he's a clown. The clown kneeling there, putting his makeup on, singing. And that opera, Pagliacci, always goes with another one called Cavaliere Rusticana. They have Cavaliere Rusticana at the beginning, they interval it, and they come back and do Pagliacci. And this is where we're getting the story from, because this is the intermezzo from Cavaliere Rusticana. I ended up going to see Donald Smith sing Pagliacci 26 times. Most of them at the New Theatre at Newtown, and then the Opera House. I had to pay for the Opera House once. But and in fact, we find a little sign from his dressing room on the wall in there, actually, from Elizabethan Theatre, Donald Smith and Reginald Barr. Oh, is it behind me? There it is. Donald Smith, Reginald Barr. That's from Elizabethan Theatre at Newtown. I got to know him over the years, and I've taught him. So and I've always loved this. This is it's not the overture, it's between the two acts. The orchestra plays this, and it's just beautiful. But we've never had enough string players in Lucy Wogan. It's always been a bit tight in the old string players, and it needs lots of them and that. So I thought when this ensemble came in and big, I thought, this is my chance, and here it is. It the internet's open, can't be rusty. You're going to love this. And even if you don't, I'll do it. Let's check on the volume here. Back to my cello. Ooh, slow it. At one point or other, last year, I don't know when it was, but at one point Chiaki happened to mention that she also sings. Ooh, ooh. What's the song that you know? And she mentioned this one, which is a bit of a rock and roll song. I said, great, we'll do it, we can do it. String ensemble, Corona Ensemble will do anything. And so here's something a little bit different. But Chiaki doing The End of the World. We keep asking who had this as a hit?
Carpenters.
Huh? How would you know? You went.
I know just, I think it's Brenda Lee version.
Brenda Lee?
Who is the original? I don't know. Is that Brenda Lee? Oh, okay. Yes, I was right.
Oh, well done. Who's that over there? Oh, very, very good. Okay, so this is Chiaki.
Why does the sun go on shining? Why does the sea just too short. Don't they know it's the end of the world? 'Cause you don't love me anymore. Why do the birds go on singing? Why do the stars go above? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It's ending and I lost your love. I wake up in the morning and I wonder why everything the same as it was. I can't understand, no, I can't understand how life goes on the way it does. Why does my heart go on beating? Why do those eyes of mine cry? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It's ending when you said goodbye. Don't they know it's the end of the world? It's ending when you said goodbye.
Comments, some lovely singing, tears streaming down my face, beautiful singing, more songs, and Kate says, love that you saw carry out your 27 colours. So lots of, and lovely viola playing, lots of very positives coming from the text. So keep going, guys.
Right. I wasn't all that comfortable, trying to do cello parts on the bass concertina, but I'm really not comfortable playing accordion, even though I've been playing for quite a long years. I don't really, instead of the day, I'm a once a year accordion player. I get it out to wander around hospitals with Lynette doing Christmas carols once a year. But,
And that's a good job.
and well, it depends. You see, what's hard with the accordion is this side, right? And it depends. If your chords are just 1, 4, and 5, then they're just next to each other. It's easy. It's when you've got to jump. And you miss. You go too far or too short, you hit the wrong note. Oh. Tell you what, we'll see what happens. Because this one kind of cries out for the accordion. Cries out. This is another klezmer tune. We now get back to, again, it's not exactly a classical piece. I suppose Intermezzo is about the only one that really even comes close to being called a classical piece, I suppose, out of our repertoire so far. But this is a proper string arrangement of this very, very well-known song. It is also the hardest thing by far. But, for me anyway, trying to do the cello part that we're doing, but I think you'll enjoy this. This is, I think, really showing the strength of this amazing group of people, actually. It's like Lucy Bogan. There's a real mixture of people that are very confident with many, many years of experience in playing, other people that not so much. And yet we all come together, and by choosing the repertoire carefully, we make sure that there's hopefully some things there that will challenge the better players, and yet we've got enough things that are simple enough for us to all be able to play it fairly well, you know. I've always considered myself someone who can play simple stuff quite well, you know, whether it's on the keyboard or concertina. I can't play really difficult stuff at all. But we have people in this room that can, and they do get a chance a bit in some things like this to show off what they can do. But this is this really beautiful arrangement. It's actually for a string quartet, but we've swelled it up into a string ensemble by a guy called Paul Taylor. You'll know. No introduction required for this. But the piano does have to play itself. Just on the level. special. Eh? Really
So,
special.
we've said Henry in Camera is loving over the rainbow and he's drifting back to sleep.
Ah!
Henry, and I hear this last one will keep him sleeping very quietly through the night, don't you?
But just before we do that, though, I'd just like to thank for a few people. I mean, especially, of course, these wonderful people. I don't know how much you've enjoyed coming here many Tuesdays last year, but I certainly loved having you come here, and I hope that somehow we can still keep doing something together, and more concerts actually. More concerts. But today I want to thank a few people, particularly Michael. I've never met Michael before today, but a friend in Lucy Woven, someone in Lucy Woven said, because we're always looking for people to take photographs. You know, it's very hard because we're all playing and things, and so Ed told me about this bloke that actually does it. This is what he does. He goes along and photographs concerts and performances and things, and he does it for them. And not for money, but because these things are just important. I love that, just because it's a really important thing to do. So he's never operated a video camera before in his life. He was going to come along and take photographs of the Lucy Woven concert, but what he needed today was someone to do what he was doing, which was to have the one camera that was actually being operated and moving around in frame and things. And I don't know, maybe he did a horrible job, but I won't know until I look it up. I suspect that he's done a great job, and whatever he's done has been really very much appreciated. So a big hand to Michael, please. You were supposed to run out the front and wave at the camera. That's right. Okay, and then next thing he's going to pick up a violin and want to play. Anyway, and then look, we needed somebody to operate the switch between. We've had 4 cameras, wide shot and so on, and so I was really, really pleased that Eric and Nancy came along. And Eric, thank you for coming along and doing this. He's never done anything like this before in his life. He just whipped it on it. But I think you should particularly congratulate him because he drove over here on his own today. Now, that may seem like a big deal, but he only got his licence on Wednesday. And you may think, blimey, he's a bit old to be getting his licence, isn't he? But Eric had some terrible things happen to him last year, and as part of that whole thing, he had to have his right leg amputated. And so the fact that he got his licence today and drove over himself, the biggest trip he's done so far. Much appreciated, and Nancy came over too. She's been the one that's been checking out our feed, our text chat feed over YouTube and doing all that. Thanks. So thank you to Nancy as well. Thanks for I ended up sort of mentioning everyone pretty well here as we went along, but not really my wife. But I did say before how it's amazing how she's come along over 3 years. 3 years ago, when I first met her, she wouldn't even sing, couldn't really sing anything in tune. But she's come along. It's true. She spent her whole life, not that she couldn't, just her whole life just singing and everything without really listening. But she mastered that, and then she taught herself to recorder, and she taught herself a glockenspiel, and then she, as often happens, it's not that she suddenly decided she wanted to play the violin. Someone gave her one, or found one, or something. Was it Lena's?
Lena, yeah. It sat in the cupboard for 2 years.
I don't know, for whatever reason she decided to get it out, and there's my wife, she gets into something and she doesn't. So the violin is not an easy instrument to play, so she's been 3 years now, she's been working on it, and it's just doing amazingly well. Okay, we're going to finish with, remember this was going to be a concert at the end of December, so we're going to finish with a Christmas. Yeah. So, but you won't be sorry, this is probably the most well-known Christmas carol of all, but it's adapted from an arrangement by Winston Evans again. We thank Winston and the Renaissance players. There's absolutely beautiful arrangement of this, which Lucy Woven has done a few times. It's got an instrumental prelude, and then verse 1, a little bit of instrumental, verse 2, instrumental, and then verse 3. Right, so what we are doing is that, but the verses are not being sung. they're just being played. So we have instrumental interlude, instrumental verse 1, instrumental interlude, instrumental verse 2. So I think it kind of works. I mean, it is lovely. And we've had to allocate, there's parts that were arranged for a harp has been given to a violin, parts that were arranged for 2 flutes have been given to 2 other violins, and so on. So I've had to shuffle things around a bit, but I think it's still a really beautiful, beautiful arrangement of this. So yeah, I want to take you to recognise this one.
Always getting
And
set.
and thank you, of course. Thank you. Yeah, audience, of course. So wonderful. So have sit around and look and see how you're looking for people. So thank you. I'm glad you came along. And this will be up on YouTube, by the way. It'll stay up there, so you can go and have a look at all tell your friends and have a look at little bits.
Just before we finish, Wayne, there's someone listening in Kenya. Can you believe that? The sun is rising here in Kenya. What a great way to start the day. Did you know we were going to Kenya?
Yes.
Did you know, ladies?
Ray's family.
Ray, are you responsible?
I think I might be.
Right.
Who do you know in Kenya?
Caroline and her boys.
Yeah, it's grandsons there.
Daughter.
Oh,
My
it's his
middle
grandson.
daughter and 3 boys and Simon.
Kenya. Doesn't that bring tears to the eyes? Yes, well done. So I'll sort
Well,
it out.
how about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to finish with this one. At the end of this, we shall fade off into the oblivion and whatever. So, this is oh, and sorry, this is Charky, big violin solo, right?